what was growing up like? Like 2-parent household, 1-parent household, how many siblings? What did your parents do? What neighborhood are you from? That kind of thing.
All right, so I would say I had a pretty good childhood. Like, my parents were struggling, but I never knew that because I always had food on the table. I always had clothes on my back. I mean, we always had a bike in the summer and rollerblades. And so my brothers and I, so at the time, it was just my brothers and I. My brother, Frankie, he was the oldest one. Then my brother, Kelvin, and then it was myself. I was the only girl growing up, and it was just these 2 boys. And so Frankie and I, we were a little bit more adventurous. So he and I were like best buds, like best of friends. He was the oldest one. Now, Kelvin, love you, Kelvin. He was like a mama's boy. Like, he was the one that wanted to watch cartoons all day and snitch on us if we did something bad. You know, he was that kind of brother, that kind of sibling. And so growing up, my parents, they weren't together, but I never knew that because my parents always kept a good friendship. Wow. So even though my parents weren't together, my mama would be in the house with her boyfriend, and my mama would, the first thing I always heard her say was, if the daddy want to come, he gonna come. You know, he can come whenever he wants. He has access to his kids at any time, which I think is pretty dope because we have some people that are like bitter towards their, ex-partner or whatnot. And so my dad was always in our life. He was very active in our life. And so I would say, again, we had a pretty good childhood. What I would say is that as a Latina growing up, my parents did work a lot of hours because they wanted to provide. So we kind of raised ourselves in a way. So there was like no real structure. Like I could like lie and say I did homework and I ain't never do my homework kind of thing, you know? So that kind of structure was missing, and not because they didn't want to do it, they just didn't have the time to do it. And so fast forward, we're growing up. My mama was a little more free. Like, oh, y'all want to go outside? Go ahead. She wouldn't ask us where, get home at this time, no curfew, nothing. My daddy, he was more structured. She wasn't. So we got away with a lot from my mama. She's a great mom, but she was just, in her own world kind of thing. And so I would say for me as a young lady at the time, I kind of grew up way faster than I should have. And I think that's because, again, my mama, she was a great mom. Like, she made sure she was active, of course, but she also still wanted to live her life. And so seeing that as an example, seeing her getting dressed up to go to the club with her friends, I'm over here 14, like, oh, I want to wear a belly shirt. I want to dress up like that because that was what I saw. And so innocently, these are the things that I wanted to do. So I was, trying to get my aunt's ID to go to the club at 16, sneaking into the club, acting like I'm 18 and I'm not, So a lot of that was going on. So fast forward to the age of 17, something occurred where my mama she was out of the country. She would always travel to the Dominican Republic to visit like my grandparents and stuff. And so this specific summer, which was 2012, she ends up going to the Dominican Republic, and she's like, okay, y'all, every time she'll leave, she'll say, y'all be good. Y'all old enough to watch yourselves, but your daddy is a couple blocks away, so he's gonna be watching y'all too. And I was like, all right, cool. So that's kind of how she kind of left us. Under my dad's supervision, but really our own. And so anyway, so there was a specific day during that time. This was now in September. Well, let me back up to the summertime real quick. So that summer, a lot of things were happening, like weird things, supernatural, like spiritual things, spiritual warfare. I didn't know that's what it was then. Now I do. But there was a lot of spiritual warfare going on within my brother, Frankie. And, he was like gangbanging. He was like in the Latin Kings and all that kind of stuff. So he was like dealing with a lot of like Santeria and like all this kind of stuff, spiritual stuff.
Explain to the audience what Santeria is, just in case they don't understand.
Well, I don't really know by definition what it is, but I do know it's when you're dibbling and dabbling with spirits that are not of God.
Got it.
Witchcraft, if you ask me. So he would come home sometimes, some nights, and he'll say to my mama, Mom, the devil is after me. I can't, and my mama would have to come and pray over him because he would be like freaking out. And I used to just be like, and fast forward to, I'm sorry, but back when I was like 10, I saw someone possessed, like with a demon in the Dominican Republic.